to abstain from taking intoxicants. These are Buddhism's 5 precepts. To observe these 5 precepts is to be one with compassion. Observing the 5 precepts is to practice great generosity in 5 ways. The 5 precepts are not meant as a means of restriction, but are for universal protection. In fact, to observe these precepts is a basis of being human. If a person breaks the 5 precepts by killing, stealing, raping, cheating, or by doing any wrong deed after being intoxicated, he has to face the law of the country for disrupting social morality. In Buddhism, doing so means he might lose his opportunity to be reborn human. Instead, one might be reborn as a suffering being in the lower realms of hells, hungry ghosts or animals. Do not belittle the 5 precepts. It is very simple. The 5 precepts are 5 ways to practice great generosity because they were formed through compassion. How great are the merits from receiving the precepts? It is said in the sutras that the great merits of one who aspires to receive the precepts fill the vastness of space. Why is this so? There are countless living beings in the world. When we give rise to a thought of not killing, not stealing, we receive merits from not harming all beings. Imagine the vastness of these merits which fill all space. When we break a precept and kill or steal from one person, the negative karma are comparatively small. If we are to then give rise to the thought of receiving the precepts, all the complete goodness of the Dharma thus gather in us. The merits and the benefits are so great. There are differences between receiving and not receiving the precepts. You should not think, as long as I follow the precepts, there will be merits. Why should I receive them? Let me ask you, if the merits are the same, why do you not receive them? What are you afraid of? You fear breaking the precepts. Anyway, if receiving and not receiving the precepts are the same, the negative karma from not following them is still the same. In the modern context, one who observes the 5 precepts well avoids many unnecessary problems, as he will not endanger himself by killing, stealing, having sexual misconduct, lying, or taking intoxicants. Although the 5 precepts tell us what not to do, they also strongly encourage us to cultivate our virtues. Not harming life, we rid our hatred and learn to develop our loving kindness and compassion. Not stealing, we curb our greed and attachment and learn to be generous and less self-centered. Not having sexual misconduct, we learn to resist temptations of the senses and be content. Not lying, we learn to be truthful, honest and reliable. Not drinking or taking any other intoxicants which cause a loss of mindfulness, we learn to be alert and be clear-minded. Observing the 5 precepts not only benefits oneself, it also brings many benefits to others, our society, country, and the world at large. Not killing, we protect all life. Thus, there will be no murder in the world. Not stealing, we protect everyone's wealth and property. Thus, then there will be no theft or robbery in our world. Not having sexual misconduct, we respect families and personal relationships. Thus, there will be no sex-related crimes in our world. Not lying, we uphold the truth. Thus, there will be no cheating or deceiving in our world. Not taking intoxicants, we protect our physical and mental health. Thus, there will be no careless accidents of any kind in our world. Therefore, observing the 5 precepts not only purifies the individual, it also brings happiness to one's family, harmony and security to society, and peace to the world. In the Buddha's time, after lay people go through the threefold refuge and the 5 precepts ceremony, the males are called upasakas and the females upasikas. After receiving the precepts, how should we observe them? One who observes the precept of not killing resolves to never kill another person or oneself. One also avoids harming any animals. To kill personally, to instruct someone to kill, or to use various means such as weapons like guns and knives to cause death, is to break the precept. Observing the precept of not killing does not mean one has to be vegetarian. In its time, the Buddha permitted the Sangha to eat meat with three aspects of purity. This form of meat refers to that obtained not from personal killing, not from instructing someone to kill, and not from knowing that the animal was killed for oneself. However, to choose to be vegetarian to cultivate apathy and compassion to the helpless is indeed very praiseworthy. There are those who strictly observe vegetarianism while not reflecting whether one has selfishness, dishonesty, cruelty, or jealousy towards others. Whether one is vegetarian or not, the most important thing is to purify our minds. Observing the precept of not stealing is to obtain what one wishes through right means. If others have not given us permission to take what belongs to them, one should simply not take. To take without asking or to obtain through immoral means is to steal. Observing the precept of not having sexual misconduct is to not have carnal relationships beyond one's married partner. To be unfaithful to one's spouse or participate in sexual activities not approved by the law or society is to break this precept. Observing the precept of not lying is to not communicate baseless words and to not deceive others, such as proclaiming oneself to be a saint. This precept of right speech includes not engaging in divisive speech, harsh speech, useless speech, and flowery speech. Observing the precepts of not taking intoxicants to avoid alcoholic drinks, mind-numbing drugs, and any substance abuse. Alcohol by itself is not evil, but it can lead to drunkenness and trouble, such as quarrels and fights. It also wastes away one's health and wealth. Thus, the Buddha advised against drinking. Some fear committing to observing the precepts, as they worry about breaking them. The truth is, whether one commits to observe the precepts or not, doing unwholesome deeds will still bear unwholesome results. In observing the precepts of not killing, stealing, having sexual misconduct, lying, and taking intoxicants, having the intentions of committing evil determines that one has broken the precepts. The Buddha's teachings are open and understanding. If one does not know one is breaching the precepts, one is not considered breaking them. If one has intentions to breach the precepts, even if one does not break them, one is still at fault. If one who observes the precepts accidentally breaches them, one should immediately seek repentance. Repentance refers to having a sense of regret after making a mistake, and seeking forgiveness from those we did wrong to. It also includes making the resolution not to repeat the mistake. In Buddhism, one who sincerely repents keeps the integrity of one's precepts pure. However, one cannot escape from the fruits of one's unwholesome deeds. The law of cause and effect links the experience of the flow of life in the present to the past and the future. The intensity of the good or evil done determines the order of these deeds bearing fruit. The good and evil we have done in the past affects our present life, while that which we do in this life will determine our happiness and suffering in this life and the next. However, Buddhism's teaching of cause and effect is not fatalistic. Although the seeds of our past deeds can influence our lives, many conditions are necessary for the fruition to take place. Thus, we can diligently improve to perfect ourselves and to shape our destiny. However, one who has committed serious misdeeds will have to face inevitable consequences, but one can actively do more good to dilute its effects.